Let's look at the most dropped players here. I want to go to one guy in particular who's on a bye this week, and that is Van Jefferson, because we know it was a little bit of a frustrating situation for him. I think he's probably on the next list here of the guys that we're looking at. So you see Robert Woods, understandably, why you're dropping him. Brandon Bolden, I think we'll pump the brakes on that one a little bit, just in case he still gets a role in the passing game, and especially if there is no Damian Harris this week. But in terms of the Rams wide receiver core, Adam, Van Jefferson dropped a touchdown in the game Monday night against the 49ers. They're still working in Odell Beckham. Are people giving up on Van Jefferson too soon?
When you look at 6 to 7 targets in 4 straight games and only one game with more than 54 yards, it's hard for me to say they're giving up on Van Jefferson too soon. But when you peek under the hood, you look at that 49ers game, and you mentioned the drop touchdown. He also had another drop a little bit earlier. It could have been about 10 to 20 yards on a slant. I think he's going to be better than Beckham. I know it's a little unfair to Beckham just because Beckham barely played last week. I think this is the number 2 wide receiver for the Rams. So I would not drop him if I could afford to hold him. But he won't be as good as Robert Woods. I do understand dropping him if you're in a pinch. If you can afford to keep Van Jefferson on your team, though, I would do that.
Yeah, I'm skeptical that he's ever going to get past the 6 or 7 target mark, and it's hard to be a must-start wide receiver. That's more of flex range in terms of targets. I would expect, again, Beckham gets a couple weeks to learn the system, and he's going to see more action in their next game. So I understand why. I kind of agree with Adam. Like, I'd like to have Van Jefferson on my bench, but it's more of a luxury than a necessity.
I think 2 things are at play here. One, if he caught the touchdown, it's a much different conversation, because then you're feeling a lot better about where Van Jefferson is with the 6 or 7 targets and the fact that he scored in the first game without Robert Woods. The second part of this is, and if you're just looking at it, because I did this myself, I would like to have Van Jefferson, but I know that if I drop Van Jefferson, there's not a huge rush to go get him right now, and I will try and pick him up next week when not a lot of people are looking at him, if depending on what happens in the week 11 games. And so if you really want to drop him, see what happens, pick somebody up like Jeff Wilson, for example. If you don't need Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell plays, you can drop Wilson, go back to Van Jefferson, those type of things. So it's easy to drop him now, but don't give up on him or think you don't have to get him back, or maybe not want to get him back. I'm going to try to get him back prior to week 11. So Adam, Heath, the leagues that we're in, he's still mine for next week.